actor friends, I'm very excited to be back again with you today with my 5 top tips for improving your Shakespeare monologues. Now, I've been working with a lot of coaching clients and these are the things that I'm seeing pop up over and over. So I wanted to put it all into one video for you, and I think this will really help you up level what you're doing. Some of this stuff you can apply to contemporary monologues as well, and in fact you might already be doing it a little bit, but with Shakespeare it needs to be really conscious. So I'm going to step it through with you and give you some suggestions for how you can put it in place. I also have a whole playlist that is just Shakespeare technique and stuff that can help you. It is called Get Better at Shakespeare, and you can look at that. So if you are new and you're trying to prepare, please go and look at that playlist because there's so much there for you. But for now, let's just jump into these ones. I'm very excited about this. So number 1 is find the peak. One thing that Shakespeare is really good at is creating a dramatic arc. Now, it's not always a classic kind of arc shape. Sometimes the highest point could be at the beginning and then there's like a smaller one at the end, or there's a random bit in the middle, but you need to understand what you're building to because you really need to give your monologue some shape. The biggest thing that like 99.9% of people struggle with when they're doing a Shakespeare monologue, especially long monologues, is they become like a wash of emotion. It's all kind of on one level. That's really common. And part of it is because we're often thinking about the language, and some of it's just because we haven't thought about what is the shape of this monologue. And then we fail to show our range and our different skills and nuance and all those kind of things. And if you're doing an audition, they just see kind of one element of what you can do, which is not what you want, right? Look at your monologue and look for the most intense part. Where do you think that lies? Do you get a sense of where are you building to and how does it kind of fall off at the end? Or does it just keep on going up? There are lots of different shapes available to you, but start to think about the highest point and you'll start to understand the shape. The second thing that you can do, and this will help you with shape as well, is find the shifts. Now, this is essentially beats or units or sections. And if you've ever done anything like that before in your scene work, you'll understand what I mean. Essentially, you're looking at the monologue and going, where am I kind of changing? Where are my main thoughts that I can move from thought to thought? Now, that's not every tiny little thought that comes up. They're the main chunks. I sometimes just call them chunks. If it were an essay, it'd be kind of like your paragraphs. So it's usually about 2 to 4 lines, but occasionally you will get something that's like just 1 line long or 6 lines long. But a general rule, look at 2 to 4 lines and see if it's like a good one thought. Now, I've often talked to actors and they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. But the problem is they then don't demonstrate the changes between each chunk. It's actually really important in Shakespeare to show quite obvious shifts because again, otherwise it becomes kind of like a wash of emotion, and it becomes, and even just a wash of like an argument of being like, I'm talking about this the whole way through. Really what's happening in a Shakespeare monologue is often that they're talking about one thing and then they talk about something else and they talk about something else, they change their mind, they feel a different way. There are really big shifts. So what I encourage you to do once you've kind of pieced out, okay, here are my sections, is practice over exaggerating the changes between them. I've worked with people in a lot of different ways to achieve this. You could give each section a different color, for example, so it feels different when you're doing it. You could stylize your movement and make it very small or very big. You can move around the room, or you can do things like actions and strategies to desire, to coax, to berate. Change your intention and your strategy or your action, and it will change what you're doing. Really go over the top with it so you can feel those shifts. Really think about, if someone's watching me, can they track that I have changed here, that something has changed? This is going to stop your audience kind of getting lost in what you're saying. It will hopefully also help you track the thought changes and the progression of your character, which again is going to contribute to understanding that shape. Number 3, now this is a big one. I talk about it quite often. Decisions and discoveries. This is massive in Shakespeare, often characters are making new decisions or they're discovering something new, either about how they feel or what they think or what's going on in each kind of beat. Something that I think a lot of people tend to do when it comes to discoveries and decisions is they just don't show the audience that they've happened. They might know theoretically, oh, okay, she decides this. You need to show the audience, and it might feel a little bit over the top sometimes that you've discovered something. So it might be taking a short pause at the end of a line, for example, or a very, very quick pause in the middle of a line if you need to, where it's like, you need to show them, and it might feel ridiculous, but you got to go there. And the same with decisions, you got to go like, all right, what does your decision-making face look like and your discovery face? So practice those faces. Use the breath where it arrives on you. Those things are important to connect to because they really take the audience through the monologue. Again, they're not going to get lost if they see you going, thinking, the cogs are turning, aha, light bulb. God, I feel so cheesy. But you need to kind of go there. You can always bring it back after you've kind of worked through that process. If it's feeling over the top, go there, then bring it back. Don't try and be subtle the whole way through, because actually Shakespeare is generally, it's not that subtle. So the last two on my list might be a bit of a surprise to you. Number 4 is find the ugly. Now, it might sound a bit weird, but often I find with Shakespeare, we get up and we feel like it needs to be very posh. Or even if we don't mean to, we end up speaking a little bit more refined than usual. And a lot of the time that is not helpful because it's like we're filtering ourselves. We're sort of putting a mask on, we're holding ourselves back. And you have to be ready to kind of ugly cry, or ugly yell, or weird ugly comic face. I'm thinking like Claire Danes' ugly cry in Homeland kind of thing. Like, go to that place. Don't be scared. Again, you can always pull it back if it feels not good after a while, but go there first. Find that element that's kind of got something ugly in it, something that makes you maybe feel a bit uncomfortable, because I guarantee it will help you be more truthful when you allow yourself to go to that ugly place. It's actually my favorite. And the 5th one is find the stillness. Often this is what brings us back again to that kind of truthfulness once we've sort of pushed ourselves into uncomfortable territory, or we've gone a bit over the top so we're clear about our changes and our decisions and all those things. Once we've pushed ourselves to that point, you then need to bring it back and find the stillness. Now that doesn't mean you need to be chill about things. Actually, what you're showing is the battle, the struggle to keep yourself still, even when you're feeling a lot. So this can really help you keep control, keep your technique, and keep grounded and connected and truthful. It's a balance with Shakespeare, because a lot of the time with intense monologues, it's about letting things kind of come out, but you need to start by holding it in first. And as it goes through, then it will naturally start to spill out of you a bit more, because you can't keep control of it that whole time. So start by trying to find stillness within whatever your character is feeling. What are they having to fight to be still? That is incredibly interesting to watch. So those are my top 5 tips. I'm going to link my Get Better at Shakespeare playlist on the screen for you now, so you can go and have a look at some other stuff and keep your study and practice and development going. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys in the next video.